Hey loves, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Faith, and today guys, I'll be checking out Candace Owens said OnlyFans gets straight on why men won't marry them. And you guys, I'm excited to find out what Candace has to say in this video. If you're yet to subscribe to this channel, please consider subscribing, give this video a massive thumbs up, and without much ado, let's see what this one is all about.
Maybe you see men, maybe you see women. How many per day or per week? Do you call them clients? What do you call them? Tricks?
Clients,
what
friends. No, not tricks.
Marks?
No.
No? Okay. I don't know the terminology. I'm not in the world.
some providers may, but they're not maybe the most respectful. I like to deem them friends as soon as I get to know them, and
Gotcha.
And we are like friends. Sometimes we're like married couples, but it can be it depends, anywhere from like 2 to 3 a day. That's a lot.
2 to 3 a
but
day.
maybe 5 a week.
Okay. What about you?
So anywhere between 2 to 3. Oh, sorry.
It's fine.
Anywhere between 2 to 3.
Okay.
And sometimes 4 or 5, depending on.
Sure. Per day.
Yes.
Do you know what the most is in one day? Like, was there one day?
It always fluctuates.
Okay. Is there ever like a 10, a dozen?
I don't.
Yes.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about Candace Owens on the Whatever podcast. I actually watched quite a bit of that podcast last night because Candace Owens talking to 304s is peak entertainment on a Friday night for me. Okay, that's how lame I am, guys, right? I'm not out drinking and partying and doing all the stuff that the young kids do, right? I'm up watching Candace Owens destroy OnlyFans models on why they won't get married, right? Why men won't want them because of their past and because of the things that they've done and because of how their body's all over the internet. Now, I want to play this clip and talk about this clip. And one of the reasons why I want to talk about it is because, well, one, it was just funny how painfully obvious it was that Candace Owens really did not like being on that podcast. She felt uncomfortable. It's pretty hilarious to watch her face and her facial expressions that she clearly can't hide. She has a very poor poker face, okay? I felt like she felt disgusted just being on the podcast, to be quite honest with you. But anyways, one of the reasons why I want to talk about this segment is because although I agree with what Candace is saying, I'm actually going to go deeper than what she's saying. I'm actually going to talk about something that I don't ever hear any of these red pill guys talk about when it comes to this issue of having these OnlyFans models, aka these sex workers, on their shows to discuss dating and relationships. And I want to talk about it because this is something I've wanted to talk about for a long time. I just haven't had a good video to react to actually talk about it. But this is a good video to talk about it because this is one of the biggest pet peeves that I have with the red pill dating space. And I think, honestly, it really does kind of hinder the credibility of a lot of these guys who continue to host these sex workers, pretending that they actually are experts or that they know anything about relationships and dating. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll this clip of Candace setting these OnlyFans women straight on why they'll have a hard time getting married in the future. Take a look.
Can you need me to repeat anything?
I talk about this extensively on my show. I mean, the truth is that if you are going to engage in sex work, you are going to probably make a lot of money, especially if you're young. You're on a very tight rope. As you get older, your value goes down, and men are going to want women that are younger and available to them. I'm talking about in terms of just making the person who will subscribe to your OnlyFans page. You know, obviously, women, you're declining as you age. The truth is that high value men don't want to date women that are sex workers or even women that aren't sex workers and lean into the whole talking about how sexy and are freely available on the internet for other men to see. What we're talking about is biological proclivity. What men are doing when they first say, this sounds amazing, to date a stripper or to date a prostitute or to date a sex worker, is there's this instinct to have sex. It's going to be amazing when have sex all the time. But then when they realize that actually a form of wanting to be in a relationship is feeling that there's a mystery to a woman, that there's something that's yours, there's something that's sacred, there's something that's powerful and beautiful that just you share. And when they realize that they have to share that with other men, it completely diminishes the man. man. A recent cultural example of that, obviously, is what's happening with Nina Agdal. She's not a sex worker by any means. She just kind of said some sexy things on the internet about wanting and look at what...
Was not expecting that from Candace.
I'm quoting her directly, so this is purely academic. Purely academic. And look at what happened. You know, now Logan has become the laughing stock of other men as they piece together everything that she's ever said that's overtly sexual. And again, she's not a sex worker, but what happened is her value just completely plummeted because, this thing that men need to feel. And I don't want to say possession in a way that sounds bad, because it's not bad. It's actually really beautiful. And I'm lucky and fortunate that I get to experience that in my marriage, you know, and it's something that women should strive toward. Women that make those exchanges in their youth, I think that's sad, and I do feel bad for Nina Agdal, is because she said a lot of those statements when she was really young. She's probably your age. And she had a camera and she said it, and it lives forever. Right. And now every man that she dates is going to say Dylan Danis has made her available to everyone. And I hope things work out between her and Logan, but if you don't think that that's going to impact Logan, or that's not actively impacting him as a man, it is. So with women, it's a trade-off. First thing you said was, I make money, this is about money. It's about money, but when it comes down to marrying these women, men just don't want it.
And that's exactly why I said that in this industry, I'm single until I retire.
But it will still matter.
I don't plan on doing this or getting married or finding the love of my life until I retire, like, truthfully. And then after that,
you see what happened to Nina Agdal.
No. And then after that, I will be honest and truthful with the person that I will be getting married to or whatever, and it'll be up to him to accept that, right? So,
I'm just saying that men's natural proclivity is to not accept that, because it brings them shame. Men are biologically proud creatures.
I understand, but not everybody can be like that.
No, I know. I'm not. I'm just telling you what is happening and why people are. I'm just talking about cultural events, the Agdal thing, and if you look at people like Emily Ratajkowski, she's obviously hot, but this is a woman who's now trying to make divorce chic, and I think that the understanding is in Hollywood is, you know, sleep with her and move on. She's not marriage material. Her husband, when he had her, cheated on her because they didn't have that thing. I feel like I've slept with the girl. I've seen her naked so many times, right? So there's nothing special about Sebastian Baer marrying her, because we've all seen her naked. There's nothing sacred in that relationship. And I'm just speaking on telling you, you know, this is why women struggle to get married when they've made themselves available on OnlyFans, because other men don't want to share. They don't want to share their wife. They maybe will share their girlfriend. They might think it's fun to date a stripper for a little bit. They might think, oh, this means I'm going to have sex 12 times a day. But then when it gets down to just their biological instinct, it's actually quite embarrassing for them as a man, because they can look up your girl and here she is, you know? So that's what I think is happening.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Okay, I generally think that Candace Owens is correct. I don't think that anything that she said was incorrect. I believe that there is something to be said about how a man feels when he's with a woman that has been with everybody, right? The idea that you walk into some random function and maybe, I don't know, half the dudes in the room have clapped your wife's cheeks, right? Clearly, as a man, that is not going to make a man feel good, okay? To know that his woman at one point was for the whole world, right? The whole world could have had his woman, or had seen his woman on OnlyFans, naked on the internet. Yeah, I think it does take the sacred nature out of the relationship. And I do think that that is a big factor in regards to why these women will struggle with relationships. But I actually think that is deeper than that. Okay. And it's a conversation that I actually have not heard on any of these dating podcasts, even though they commonly feature these sex workers, who some of them will get married, right? Because there are simps out there that will marry them. They will say, I don't care about your past. I don't care if, you know, my best friends have banged you. I don't care. I love you. You make me feel special, and I'm going to be with you, right? Until the relationship inevitably ends, right? Like, for example, Mia Khalifa, who's been married multiple times and divorced multiple times, now telling women, hey, divorce your man if you're not 100% happy, right? Leave him. Okay, as she is clearly struggling to maintain a relationship. Well, why is she struggling to maintain a relationship? Well, it's not just because of how a man feels about her past and what she did in the past. Clearly, the fact that she got married tells you that there are some men who don't really care that much that they're going to marry a woman. The reason why she's struggling to maintain a relationship, and the reason why all these women who do OnlyFans or sell their box for a living will struggle to maintain a relationship, is because in virtue of the fact that they sell their box, that they sell their body for a living, they have psychologically altered their minds in a way that is unnatural for a woman. And now they actually don't understand how to maintain a relationship with a man that's not transactional.
Facts.
Okay? Or purely transactional, in the sense that a man is giving a woman money in exchange for submission, which is a very unnatural thing for a woman to do. And all of these women are doing that. And in the process of doing that over and over and over again on a daily basis, in my opinion, I think these women are messing themselves up psychologically when it comes to their ability to actually maintain a relationship that's not purely transactional with a man. Now, again, I do think that, relationships are transactional for the most part. However, there's a difference between a relationship being emotionally transactional, okay, and you having some genuine connection with a man, and financially transactional, okay? What these women are doing is unnatural to them. Okay, it is not natural for a woman to open her legs and submit to any man who will pay her $500 for an hour. That is very unnatural. Okay, women only want to submit to men that they have some type of emotional connection with or some type of physical attractiveness to. Okay, these women literally will sleep with any man. Doesn't matter if they're attracted to him. Doesn't matter if they have a physical connection. Doesn't matter if they personally hate the guy, right? If they're desperate enough, which a lot of these women are, they will sleep with the next customer that shows up, right? And for a woman to do that over and over and over again on a daily basis for an extended period of time, that requires them to psychologically alter their minds and how they perceive men in relationships. Women are not emotionally and biologically wired to just sleep with random men that they have no emotional or physical connection to, right? They're just not built for that. Okay. It's not. This is why, again, women struggle with one night stands, right? Normal women who don't sell their bodies, right? They struggle when a dude sleeps with them and then a dude ghosts them. They struggle with it. Why? Because it takes an emotional connection for most women to have sex with a man. But it's not necessarily the same thing the other way around. Men can do that because as a man, the act of having sex with a woman is an act of dominance, right? That is natural for a man to do, right? So yeah, a man can, have a one night stand with a woman and not think twice about it because he's doing something that is natural to the nature of a man, right? There really is no emotional connection involved with it, right? It's just a physical connection. The man doesn't need the emotional part. A man can just sleep with a woman and, again, move on, not think twice about it. It is what it is. It's very hard for a normal woman to do that when it comes to sleeping with a man because she needs that real connection or the prospect of a real connection with that man in order to submit to that man, right? An act of submission is not an easy thing to do. Okay, it's really not. So these women that sell their bodies for a living to any man that will pay for it, they actually don't know how to maintain a relationship with a man, right? They don't know how to please a man or to satisfy a man outside of sex. They don't know how to. They don't know how to actually function in a relationship. Because when you talk about how some of these sex workers and their daily lives go in regards to interactions with men, again, it's purely monetarily transactional. Is here's some money and here's my companionship in exchange. Okay. They don't know how to give companionship or to genuinely love somebody or want to be around somebody without getting paid for it. And that's not how normal relationships work. When you're married to somebody, you don't pay your wife to say, hey, now can you spend an hour of time with me and, sleep with me and do all this other stuff after I pay you $500? That's not how it works. And that is something that a lot of these red pill guys never talk about. And it also is the reason why I think that bringing these women on these podcasts to talk about dating, especially when your target audience is young men who are living in the real world, who are not out here, sleeping with sex workers all day, and, they're not super rich. They're just average dudes. When you're bringing sex workers on a podcast to discuss dating and relationships, you're actually not helping those men out, because these women don't know anything about dating and relationships. They can't. If you listen to the whole podcast, right, they will tell you, we struggle with relationships. We struggle with dating. The reason why is because they mentally have altered themselves in a way that makes it extremely hard for them to maintain a relationship. They don't know how to be in a relationship with a man that's not giving them money. They don't know how to. So when you understand that, to me, it doesn't make sense to keep bringing these women on these platforms if you're actually really trying to help young men understand women. You can't help young men understand women by talking to a prostitute. Prostitutes are not normal women. Okay, especially when we're talking about relationships. They don't have the first clue on how to have a functioning relationship. So again, I don't think that these podcasts are actually helping out young men. Maybe when they talk about other things, like, for example, finances, fitness, networking, business, looks maxing, self-improvement. Yeah, I do think that they help young men when it comes to, I think that's where the value of the red pill is, right? That's the real value of the red pill. But when it comes to dating and relationships, I actually think a lot of these guys are helping dudes get less women, right? I think that's actually what's happening, okay? Because they keep bringing on these women that don't have a damn clue about what it's like to be a regular normal girl, because they're not regular normal girls. They've altered their minds in a way that's unnatural, and they do things that are unnatural to them as women, okay? Because it's not natural for a woman to just submit to random men that she's not emotionally connected to or physically attracted to. That's not natural. So talking to them about relationships and maintaining relationships is you're actually doing young men a disservice. And that's something that I haven't seen any of these podcasts address. Why do you keep bringing these OnlyFans women on your podcast? They're not that smart. They're not that intelligent. You're literally just bringing them on to make fun of them. And because they're eye candy, they look good. So you're going to have a bunch of, again, young men that are going to be watching a podcast because they want to see the women get shitted on, or because the women are, hot or whatever. But what ultimately ends up happening is that a lot of these men end up just subscribing to these girls' OnlyFans and end up paying these girls money, because otherwise they would not have been exposed to these women had it not been for these podcasts that keep bringing them on, trying to pretend that these women know anything about relationships. To me, it's kind of frustrating, right? And it's something I've thought about for a long time. Like, it just fundamentally doesn't make sense to keep platforming these women and talking to them as if they can give any real insight in regards to how normal everyday women that these men will encounter, that these men, claim they want to be with, right? They can't give any insight on that, because these are not normal women. They're not wired the same as regular girls who don't sleep with random men for a living, right? I'm telling you, that rewires a woman. When a woman does that, especially over a long period of time, it rewires her, okay?
That's
and it
true.
makes it very hard for her to maintain a relationship. It's not that dudes won't marry them. They will. Eventually, some dude will. Mm-hmm. It's the fact that because of what she did, she doesn't know how to maintain that relationship. She doesn't know how to have a functional relationship, because the only experience that she's had when it comes to relationships has been purely transactional, and money in exchange for sex. But that's not how most relationships are. And because these women, again, sell their bodies for a living, any man that wants to be with them long term is going to have to be able to replace that income. And a lot of men just can't, right? I mean, just statistically speaking, they just can't replace that income. But the fact that you have to do that to even be with the woman in the first place, because she literally can't do anything else as a woman, given the fact that she sold her body for a living on the internet or, whatever. Again, that makes it even more difficult to actually maintain a relationship with that type of person, right? It makes it even more transactional. It continues to be financially transactional. Even when you try to make it real, it's still just financially transactional, which doesn't help the woman transition from the mindset that she had selling her body to being with just one man, because she's still technically selling her body, right? Because if it gets to a point where that man she's trying to be in a relationship with can't provide for her the same way that she can provide for herself, selling her body to random dudes, she's going to go back to doing that. So even when she's trying to be in a regular relationship, as long as that man is paying to replace her income and she can't make her own income doing something else, then she's still going to have that same mindset. She's going to have the exact same mindset, which again is going to make it very difficult for her to actually be in a real relationship, because it's hard to get out of that mindset, considering that that's what all these women know. That's the only thing that they know. And that's why these women have such a hard time. It's not just because of their past and because men won't accept them and because, you know, they got naked pictures on the internet. There's a lot of dudes that don't care, right? They'll be like, I really don't care. Okay. What it really comes down to is the fact that, again, these women have mentally rewired themselves due to the nature of what they do for a living. And that's something that's not talked about enough. It's not something that's mentioned enough in these Red Pill podcasts. And, you know, in my opinion, I really do think that these podcasts should stop bringing these women on. I really do. I just don't think that it's helpful, right? I think it's helpful to have somebody like Candace Owens, who's married, you know, or some of these single women who are normal, who don't sell their bodies for money, who, you know, actually do understand what it's like to be in a relationship and stuff like that. And I'm sure you can find some good looking girls that are normal, right, to do that. I think that's helpful. But again, breaking all these sex workers, man, it blows my mind, because it's almost as if nobody realizes that these are not normal women. So talking to them about how to get normal women or normal dating is just it's insanity, right? It really is. So hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.
Wow, you guys, that was such an interesting one. I really enjoyed reacting to this video, and as much as what Candace Owens said was true, I totally do not agree with everything that she said, because no matter the kind of woman that is out there, there's always a specific kind of man that will marry them. Let me know your thoughts on this one. I really had fun reacting to this video, and if you guys totally enjoyed watching, give this video a massive thumbs up, comment, share, and all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.